Ever wished you could just flip a switch and activate your body's healing superpowers? Well, today we're diving into some fascinating insights from Dr. Sten Ekberg about how to potentially do just that. And no, it's not all about green juice cleanses or those crazy intense workouts.
Yeah, it's way more interesting than that. It's about this intricate connection between your nervous system and your body's ability to heal. We're going deep into Dr. Ekberg's YouTube video. What if you could completely heal yourself in 30 days?
And let me tell you, some of the stuff he talks about is seriously mind-blowing. He starts off by talking about how our central nervous system is basically running the whole show. It's the command center for everything that happens in your body.
Exactly. I mean, think of it this way, like your body is like a busy city, right?
Yeah.
And your nervous system is like this super intricate network of roads and power lines and communication systems, keeping everything flowing smoothly.
Okay, yeah, I get that. But what's that got to do with healing?
Well, within that complex network, there's this system called the autonomic nervous system. And it has these two branches that are constantly working, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic.
Ooh, those sound familiar. But remind me again what they do.
Okay, so imagine your body is a car. The sympathetic system is like hitting the gas pedal. You know it kicks in when you need to react quickly, like slamming on the brakes or swerving to avoid something in the road.
Oh, right. So that's our fight or flight mode. Got it. What about the other one?
A parasympathetic is more like the brake pedal. It lets your body slow down, rest, and repair. It's in charge of things like digestion, cell regeneration, and boosting your immune system. Basically everything that helps you heal and stay healthy over time.
So these two systems are kind of like a seesaw then. When one goes up, the other one goes down.
Exactly. And here's where things get really interesting. So your body, it prioritizes short-term survival over long-term healing. Meaning that when that gas pedal is constantly being pressed down, because of stress or deadlines or whatever, your body kind of puts healing on the back burner.
Whoa, I never thought about it like that. That makes you realize how much power we really have. But how do we control our reaction to stress? We can't just will it away, can we?
You're right. We can't just magic it away. But Dr. Ekberg makes this super important point that it's not the things that happen to us that are stress.
Yeah.
It's actually our reaction to those events that creates that internal stress response in our bodies. Think about it. Two people can go through the same exact experience, and one person might totally freak out while the other person stays totally calm.
Okay, so maybe we do have more control than we think, but how do we actually shift that balance? Is it all about meditation and deep breathing and stuff?
Those are definitely helpful tools, no doubt. But Dr. Ekberg also talks about this thing called the triad of health. Basically, it's how our chemical, structural, and emotional health are all connected.
So it's not just about eating kale and going to the gym.
Exactly. You can be doing all the right things, eating healthy, working out, but if you're constantly stressed out, that emotional imbalance can totally sabotage all your efforts.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like trying to build a house on a foundation that's all wobbly. So how do we address all three sides of this triad thing?
Well, this is where the whole idea of neuroplasticity comes in. It's basically your brain's ability to adapt and rewire itself. So you can actually train your nervous system to be calmer and more resilient even when things get stressful.
Wait, so our brains aren't just set in stone. We can actually change how our nervous system reacts to things.
Absolutely.
Right.
There's this saying, practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. The more we do things that promote relaxation and well-being, the more we're actually rewiring our brains for a calmer state that's focused on healing.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So how do we actually retrain our nervous systems to do that? Dr. Ekberg mentions breathing techniques, right?
Yeah, he really emphasizes this simple breathing technique.
Mm-hmm.
Inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. And it might sound almost too easy, but that's part of why it's so brilliant.
I love that one because it directly stimulates the vagus nerve. And that acts like a brake on the sympathetic nervous system. It's like you're hitting the pause button on that whole stress response.
Yeah.
And you can literally do it anywhere, anytime, in traffic, at your desk, even in the middle of a crazy family dinner.
It really is incredible. Just this tiny little change in our breathing can have this huge ripple effect throughout our whole body.
This is all starting to click for me now. So basically, by doing stuff like this breathing exercise, we can shift that seesaw, right? We can move it more toward that parasympathetic state, which then lets our bodies focus on healing and repair.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. So let's get into some of those practical techniques now. What else can people do besides that breathing exercise?
Well, Dr. Ekberg talks about visualizations,
Mhm.
and he's not talking about manifesting $1 million or anything like that. He's saying try incorporating visualizations into your breathing practice. Like picture yourself at a peaceful place, like a
Right.
beach or a forest or on top of a mountain, whatever just makes you feel calm and relaxed.
I love that. It's like taking a mini vacation for your mind, and it works perfectly with that breathing technique. Speaking of practical steps, Dr. Ekberg suggests that even like small, consistent actions can lead to big changes within a month. He even calls it a 30-day challenge to completely heal yourself.
Now, he does say that complete healing in 30 days might not be realistic for everybody.
Yeah, especially depending on what you're dealing with. But the main idea is that if you commit to these techniques and you do them consistently, you can start to see some real changes in your overall well-being. It's about making those small, intentional changes that can add up to big results over time.
Exactly. It's not a quick fix, it's a journey. But by understanding how powerful the nervous system is and taking those baby steps every day, you can start to unlock some pretty incredible healing potential within yourself.
It's like we were all given the keys to our own internal pharmacy, but we just never knew how to use them before.
So besides breathing and visualizations, are there any other tools that Dr. Ekberg mentioned? Yeah, he also talks about how important it is to let go of emotional attachments that might be keeping our sympathetic nervous system stuck in that high alert mode.
Interesting. But how do you actually let go of stuff like that? I
Uh-huh.
mean, easier said than done, right?
It definitely does take practice, but it's more about like becoming aware of the things we're holding on to,
Yeah.
grudges, worries that need to control every little thing, and then consciously choosing to release them.
So it's kind of like decluttering our minds like we do with our homes. Get rid of all this stuff that's weighing us down, the stuff we don't need anymore.
That's a great way to think about it. And just like decluttering your home can make you feel so much lighter and peaceful, letting go of emotional baggage can create space for like healing and inner peace too.
Yeah.
It helps us shift from that like tense and anxious state to a place of more acceptance and surrender.
That really resonates with me. It's easy to get so caught up in the everyday craziness of life and forget to slow down. We're constantly being bombarded with information and deadlines and expectations from everybody. It's no wonder our nervous systems are fried.
It's like we're all running a marathon, but we forgot to pace ourselves.
Uh-huh.
We got to build in those moments of rest and recovery, for our minds and our bodies.
And that's where all the techniques Dr. Ekberg talks about come in. The breathing exercises, the visualizations, learning to let go. They're like tools that we can use to hit the pause button and shift our nervous systems into that healing state.
Exactly. Think about it. When we're stuck in that fight or flight mode all the time, our bodies are pumping out all these stress hormones like cortisol. And over time, all that chronic stress can lead to so many health problems, like digestive issues, trouble sleeping, even a weakened immune system, and heart disease.
It's like driving around with the emergency brake on all the time, right?
Sure.
Eventually something's going to break.
Perfect analogy. And when we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, it's like we're releasing the brake and letting our bodies function the way they're supposed to, smoothly and efficiently.
So it's not even just about feeling calmer in the moment. It's about actually creating the right internal environment so our bodies can really heal, right?
Yeah, exactly. When we shift into that parasympathetic mode, we're telling our bodies, okay, now's the time to focus on those important functions. Digestion, repair, immune system boost, all that good stuff. We're giving our bodies what they need to do their job properly.
Okay, this is making a lot of sense now. But for someone listening who's thinking, all right, I'm ready to activate my healing superpowers, but where do I even begin? What's like the one piece of advice you'd give them?
Start small and be consistent. You don't have to become a meditation guru overnight. Even just 5 minutes of deep breathing every day can make a huge difference. It's all about those small, consistent actions that build up over time.
Yeah, just like building a muscle. You wouldn't expect to go to the gym once and suddenly have a six-pack, right? It takes time and effort and consistency.
And don't be afraid to play around with different techniques until you find what really works for you. Maybe you're into guided meditations, or maybe you just like to sit in silence and focus on your breath. The important thing is to find something you enjoy and make it a regular part of your routine.
And be patient with ourselves, right? It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress. We're all a work in progress.
For sure. We're talking about rewiring our nervous systems, and that takes time and effort. Some days are going to be easier than others. Some days you'll feel like you've got it all figured out, and then other days you'll feel like you're back at square one.
So true. Life is full of curveballs, but it's how we respond to them that matters, right? But if we have these tools, these breathing techniques and visualizations, and that awareness of our thoughts and feelings, then we're so much better equipped to handle those challenges without letting them totally throw us off track.
Exactly. It's about building resilience, about
Yeah.
cultivating a sense of inner calm that helps us handle whatever life throws our way without losing ourselves in the process.
Dr. Eckberg even mentions that sometimes people see really significant improvements in their health in as little as 30 days.
Right. And while everyone's healing journey is different, consistent efforts can lead to some pretty amazing results. That 30-day challenge is a great way to kickstart the process and see what's possible.
That's super encouraging. And even if it takes longer than 30 days, the fact that we can actually choose to tap into this inner healing power is pretty mind-blowing. It's like we're discovering this amazing potential inside of us that we didn't even know existed.
I know, it's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
It really changes our whole perspective on health. Like we're not just passively waiting for someone to fix us. We're actively participating in our own healing.
It reminds us that we're not just victims of our circumstances or our genetics. We can actually change our internal environment and create the right conditions for healing and well-being. It's about taking back control of our health and realizing we have way more power than we think.
Absolutely. It's about remembering that our bodies are incredibly resilient and they have this amazing ability to heal if we just give them what they need. And sometimes the most powerful medicine comes from within.
That's such a powerful message. It really gives you a sense of hope and empowerment. But it also makes you wonder if we could consistently activate that parasympathetic nervous system, what aspects of our health would improve the most? I mean, do you think it's different for everyone?
That's a really great question. Definitely something to think about.
Yeah, it really makes you stop and think. Like if we could just kind of flip that switch and get into that rest and repair mode more often, what kind of changes could we see in our own lives?
It's pretty amazing to think about. For some people, it might be like their chronic pain starts to get better, or maybe their digestion improves. For others, it could be like they suddenly have way more energy, or they're sleeping better, or even their immune system gets stronger.
What about things like anxiety and depression? Could changing that nervous system balance actually help with mental health too?
Oh, absolutely. There's more and more research coming out all the time about that mind-body connection and how things like mindfulness and deep breathing can help us regulate our emotions and even like lessen the symptoms of anxiety and depression.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like we're giving our minds and bodies a chance to kind of hit the reset button, to move away from that constant state of stress and get to a place that's more calm and clear.
Exactly. And the best part is these techniques are literally available to everyone. Like you don't need any special equipment or have to join some expensive program. It's really just about making that commitment to yourself to prioritize your well-being and tap into that healing power that we all have inside of us.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Dr. Eckberg's work, what's the one thing you really hope our listeners take away from this conversation?
Hmm. I think the most important takeaway is that you have way more power over your health than you probably realize. By understanding how your nervous system works and learning how to manage your stress response, you can literally create a ripple effect that touches every part of your well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, the whole thing.
And it's not about being perfect either, right? Like, it's progress over perfection. Start small, be consistent, and celebrate those little wins along the way.
Exactly. Every time you take a deep breath, every time you decide to let go of a worry, you're basically taking a step toward activating that inner healing power. And over time, those little steps can lead to huge transformations.
So, to everyone listening out there, as you go about your day, we encourage you to just like tune in to your body. Notice those moments when you're feeling stressed or tense and make a conscious choice to shift gears, to get into that parasympathetic mode. Take a deep breath, picture yourself in a peaceful place, and just remind yourself that you have the power to activate your own healing superpowers. And as you go, ask yourself this: if you could consistently activate your parasympathetic nervous system, what parts of your health do you think would improve the most? It's something to really think about as you start your own healing journey.